On behalf of Bishop Greg Moore and myself, Michael Miller, the Archbishop of Vancouver, I want to welcome you, participants, to the dialogue Together in Christ, which is being jointly sponsored by the Evangelical Lutheran Church in Canada and by the Canadian Conference of Catholic Bishops.
2017 marks the 500th anniversary of the Reformation, and not only that, but marks 50 years of official dialogue between the Roman Catholic Church and the Lutheran Church.
50, I must say, pretty marvelous years of dialogue with so much accomplished. One of the great documents, and I know you'll be looking at parts of it in your study, of course, is the document from 1999, the joint document on justification. A point which had been one of great division between us,
Great divisions.
No longer the case.
Yes. A lot of agreement with that, a lot of recognizing that we've come a long ways in terms of our understanding and our theology, and it also opened the door to much further dialogue in these past number of years as well.
One of the things I notice in the dialogue is that dialogue means entering into a new kind of trust relationship, avoiding sort of the hostile language that has sometimes been used, gone to the epithets. That centuries ago were hurled, and instead we're not only learning from each other, but we're changing our ideas.
Learning from one another, listening to one another, and I think all of that then led to that culmination of a lot of this dialogue in last October, where Pope Francis joined with our Lutheran leaders and had the prayer service in Sweden. And I think that marked a significant turning point for us, a recognition of how far we've come on this journey, an intentional journey. And I've had so many people talk to me about how important that gathering was and that Pope Francis was able to be with us in that part of the journey.
I'm pretty sure he wanted to be there, and there is something particularly striking about praying together.
Yes, indeed.
That this is before words or anything, this is an acknowledgement of our sharing in the gospel, of our admitting the lordship of Jesus Christ. These are, I think, more powerful than probably the documents that we can come up with.
That's right.
And that's why I think this year in October we're going to be having
We'll be having a joint worship service, a joint prayer service together in October, and several of the congregations in the Lower Mainland will be having gatherings like yours to explore together this resource of Together in Christ that's been produced by the Roman Catholics and the Lutherans. And in that, we wanted to draw attention to the 5 ecumenical imperatives that are part of this. And in part, without reading the entire imperative, the first one draws attention to Catholics and Lutherans renewing our commitment to begin from the perspective of unity. And I think that's one of the strengths of this document, to remind us of, let's start with that.
Yeah, what we have in common, not what divides us. We start when we share the gospel, we share baptism, we share a desire to follow Christ and His Word. So And the second imperative opens us up to the willingness to be transformed by the dialogue. So that while the participants are sharing, they're not just sort of declaiming or debating, they're in fact open to being changed.
Indeed. And the third one is that Catholics and Lutherans renew their commitment to seek visible unity. And I think that's an important one. It's not just there to talk about things,
right,
but how can we as communities of faith demonstrate that kind of unity in Christ?
Right. And as you mentioned, Bishop, that kind of unity kind of leads right into the fourth imperative, which is that we want to discover together the power of the gospel to transform the world. And we've got to do that, in a sense, with one voice. To be speaking two different languages of the gospel is only confusing, self-defeating, and Christians can't afford to be doing that.
That's right. And that also leads to the fifth one, which is that we recommit to witnessing together to the mercy of God in proclamation and service to the world. Again, it's faith active in love, working together.
Wonderful. Faith active in love. I wish they'd thought of that a little more in the 16th century.
Indeed.
But it's really, it's a great pleasure that we have all these folks gathered together to be together, as they are already together in Christ.
Indeed. And blessings on your gathering. We hope you have a very productive conversation and engagement together. And thank you, Archbishop Miller, for all of your support.
Thank you,
and work in
Bishop
this.
Greg.
Indeed.
It's been wonderful.
Thank you.